There comes a moment in the lives of certain people when the heavens stop waiting. There is a sacred instant in which divine patience transforms into action, and this instant, my brother, my sister, does not happen when you are ready. It happens when you are most lost. It happens when pain has already corroded your faith to the bone, when you no longer have the strength even to pray properly, when your mouth still murmurs words of hope, but your heart has already given up in silence. It is exactly at this point that something shifts in the invisible realms. It is at this point that Archangel Michael rises before the throne and says, that one is mine. I am going to retrieve them now. And if you are hearing this at this very moment, I need you to understand something that will change everything within you. You did not find this video by accident. It was not the algorithm. It was not curiosity. It was not chance. What happened was that an ancient prayer, perhaps made by you, perhaps made by someone who loves you on the spiritual plane, has finally been heard. And the answer is beginning now. But the answer from God never arrives in the way the human mind expects. It does not come as a beam of light in the middle of the room. It does not come as a thundering voice. It comes as a shiver. It comes as a tear that falls for no reason. It comes as a restlessness that will not let you sleep. It comes as a video that appears on your screen just when you are about to give up on everything. Archangel Michael is not just a warrior. He is the protector of those who have been chosen for missions they do not yet comprehend. And when he weeps, it is not out of weakness. An archangel does not weep for pain. He weeps for love. He weeps because he sees his beloved creation walking at the edge of the abyss without knowing that there is a bridge just ahead. He weeps because you have become so accustomed to the darkness that you have forgotten what it is like to live in the light. And he has received an order that cannot be ignored, that cannot be postponed, that cannot be transferred to another. The order to rescue you now. But pay close attention to what I am going to tell you, because herein lies the point that most people do not understand. Michael cannot act if you do not open the door. He can stand before you with all his celestial strength, with all his flaming sword, with all the power of the heavenly hosts. But if you remain trapped in the state of consciousness of defeat, of abandonment, of scarcity, he cannot reach you. Not because he lacks the power, but because there is a spiritual law that even the angels respect. It is the law of assumption. And this law states that you do not receive what you ask for. You receive what you assume to be true within yourself. Neville Goddard taught this with a clarity that spans generations. He said that feeling is the secret, that your imagination is not fantasy, it is the very voice of God operating through you. That when you internally occupy the state of the wish fulfilled, you activate a bridge of incidents that reorganizes the outer world to conform to your inner truth. And Archangel Michael knows this. He knows that the real battle is not against demons out there. The real battle is against the destructive inner dialogue that you repeat every day inside your own mind. How many times have you woken up and your first thought was of worry? How many times have you looked in the mirror and felt that you were not enough? How many times have you prayed for a change, but deep down, truly deep down, your inner voice said, "This will never happen for me. This is the old program. This is the virus of consciousness that is sabotaging your every manifestation." And Michael weeps because he sees this happening. He sees you repeating the cycle. He sees you asking with your mouth and denying it with your heart. He sees the distance between what you speak and what you feel. And that distance is the abyss he wants to help you cross. But now I need to reveal something to you that goes beyond what you have heard anywhere else. Something you may have already felt, but never knew how to name. Something that explains why on certain nights you wake up at 3 in the morning with a tightness in your chest, with a feeling that something big is about to happen, but you do not know what. There is a spiritual process happening within you at this moment, a process that began even before you clicked on this video. And it has to do with a choice that was made on the spiritual plane, a choice that involves you directly. And that is linked to a protection that needs to be activated now, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, now. That is why I have prepared a powerful digital book for you. It is called How to Know If God Will Save You on Judgment Day, and it is not an ordinary book. It was written for those who feel this inner calling, this pressure in the chest that will not go away. this silent certainty that there is something greater happening. People who downloaded this book have written to me saying that their lives changed in a matter of days, that situations that seemed impossible started to resolve themselves, that the fear they carried for years simply dissolved. The link is in the description of this video and also pinned at the top of the comments. But I ask you, do not leave it for later. This type of material does not remain available forever, and the fact that you are here now tells me that this is your moment. If this message touched something within you, comment the word "protected" down below, because this is more than a comment, it is a spiritual declaration. Now let us go deeper. Because what I have told you so far is only the surface, the truth that Archangel Michael wants to reveal to you tonight will shake every false structure you have built to protect yourself. Do you know that feeling that you are always fighting against something invisible, that exhaustion that is not of the body, but of the soul? That impression that no matter how hard you try, there is a force pulling you back. That has a name, and the name is not bad luck. The name is not destiny. The name is not a curse. The name is a misguided state of consciousness. Joseph Murphy, one of the greatest scholars of the power of the subconscious mind, explained that we live in two worlds simultaneously: the outer world, which is the world of effects, and the inner world, which is the world of causes. And the great mistake of humanity is to try to change the effects without ever touching the causes. It is like trying to dry the floor while the faucet remains open. You can spend your whole life mopping, scrubbing, struggling, but as long as the source of the problem is active, nothing will truly change. And what is the source? It is what you assume to be true about yourself. It is the I am that you carry. When you say, even if only in your thoughts, I am poor, I am alone, I am sick, I am a failure, you are not describing reality. You are creating reality. Because the I am is the name of God, it is the creative force of the universe operating through your consciousness. And every time you complete the sentence I am with something negative, you are literally using the power of God against yourself. Archangel Michael sees this. He sees you, a child of God, an heir to the creative power, using the most powerful sword in the universe, your own word, to wound yourself. And he weeps. Not out of pity, out of a sacred pain. Because he knows who you really are. He knows what you are capable of. He saw your original blueprint before you were born. He knows the version of you that lives in the fourth dimension, that dimension where time is not linear and where everything is already complete. And he desperately wants you to remember. Yet for this, something must die first. And here is the part that hurts. Here is the part that most channels will not tell you because they fear losing subscribers. What needs to die is your old identity, that person you think you are, that story you tell about yourself, that character you created to survive but which is now preventing you from living. You cannot carry the consciousness of a victim and at the same time expect the manifestation of a winner. You cannot hold on to the feeling of abandonment and at the same time attract true love. You cannot inhabit the state of scarcity and at the same time receive abundance. It is a spiritual impossibility. It is like trying to enter one room without leaving the other. Neville Goddard called this psychological death. He said that to be born again, one must die to the old man. And to die to the old man means to stop feeding the old story. It means to stop repeating the trauma. It means to stop defining yourself by what has happened. It means looking within and saying with all the authority of your I am, what I have been is no longer who I am. I die now to this version, and I am born now to the version that God designed from the beginning. And I know this is frightening. I know that letting go of the old identity is scary, because even though it is painful, it is familiar. And the human being prefers the known suffering to the unknown miracle. But Archangel Michael did not bring you this far to keep you comfortable. He brought you this far to set you free. This silent struggle you fight every night, this battle between who you are and who you feel you should be, it is coming to an end. But it only comes to an end if you decide now. That is why I prepared the powerful digital book for you. How to know if God will save you on Judgment Day is the map for this crossing. It does not give you easy answers. It gives you the truth that your soul needs to hear, to finally release the burden and walk free. The link is in the description and at the top of the comments. People who have accessed this material report that they felt as if a spiritual chain had been broken on that very day. Do not delay this. Every minute that passes with the old identity active is 1 minute of further delay in your liberation. Now I want to take you to the heart of the teaching, because everything I have told you so far has been preparation. It was the ground being plowed. Now it is time to plant the seed that will change your life forever. There is a technique that Neville Goddard taught, which is, in my experience of over 30 years studying human consciousness, the most powerful tool of transformation ever revealed to humanity. It requires no money. It requires no ritual. It requires no intermediary. It requires only one thing, your feeling. The technique is simple to explain but profound to practice. And it works like this. Every night, in the exact moment between wakefulness and sleep, in that state that scientists call the hypnagogic state and that mystics call the portal of creation, you must create a short mental scene, a scene that implies that your desire has already been fulfilled, not a scene of the desire happening, a scene that would only be possible after the desire had already manifested. For example, if your desire is healing from an illness, you do not imagine yourself being healed. You imagine a friend hugging you and saying, "It is so good to see you so well, you are radiant." If your desire is prosperity, you do not imagine money falling from the sky. You imagine looking at your account balance and feeling gratitude and peace. If your desire is a relationship, you do not imagine meeting someone. You imagine waking up next to this person, feeling the warmth of their body, hearing their breathing, and smiling with the naturalness of someone who has been living that for years. The key is in the feeling, not in the image. The image is the vehicle, the feeling is the fuel. You may have the most vivid scene in the world, but if there is no feeling, nothing happens. And why? Because the subconscious does not understand words. It does not understand images. It understands feelings. When you feel that something is real, the subconscious accepts it as truth and immediately begins to reorganize the outer world to match that inner truth. This is what Neville called, "The feeling is the secret." And here is something that modern science is finally beginning to confirm. The HeartMath Institute, in the United States, has discovered that the human heart generates an electromagnetic field that is 5,000 times stronger than that of the brain. And this field changes its pattern according to the emotions you feel. When you feel fear, anger, or frustration, the field becomes chaotic, fragmented, and disconnected. When you feel gratitude, love, or peace, the field becomes coherent, harmonious, and expansive. And this coherent field literally alters the reality around you. It influences the behavior of other people. It attracts circumstances. It opens doors. It creates what Neville called the bridge of incidents, the series of seemingly random events that lead you from the point where you are to the point where you desire to be. So understand this. When Archangel Michael weeps for you, he is activating something in the spiritual field, but he needs you to do your part in the field of consciousness. He can move mountains on the invisible plane, but if your electromagnetic field is vibrating at the frequency of despair, doubt, or fear, he cannot deliver the blessing. It is as if he were holding a gift on the other side of a locked door, and the key is within you. And the key is the feeling. It has always been the feeling. Now think with me. Think about your life. Think about the times you manifested something without even realizing it. That time you desired something with such intensity, with such certainty, that it felt as if it were already yours, even before it happened. And it did happen. You probably did not even call it manifestation. You called it luck. You called it a coincidence. You called it God answering your prayer. But what really happened was that you, for an instant, occupied the correct state of consciousness. You felt the reality of the desire before it materialized. And the universe responded. Because it is law, it is not a favor, it is law. The problem is that most people can only do this accidentally, without control, without intention. And that is why the results are sporadic and unpredictable. What Neville taught, what Joseph Murphy reinforced, what the quantum physics of consciousness is now revealing, is that this process can be deliberate. You can choose the state of consciousness you wish to inhabit. You can train the feeling. You can reprogram the subconscious every night. And when you do this with persistence, the transformation is inevitable. Persistence. That is the word that separates those who manifest from those who only dream. Because there will be nights when you perform the technique and feel nothing. There will be weeks when the outer world seems worse than before. There will be moments when your rational mind will scream, "This does not work, you are wasting your time, get back to the real world." And that is exactly where the test happens. That is exactly where most give up. And that is exactly where Archangel Michael watches to see if you are worthy of the blessing he is holding. For the blessing is not denied to those who are weak. The blessing is delivered to those who persist. The Bible says, "Ask, and it shall be given to you." But the more accurate translation, the translation from the original Aramaic, is, "Ask and keep on asking. Knock and keep on knocking. Seek and keep on seeking." It is not a single request. It is a sustained decision. It is persistence in feeling. It is an absolute refusal to return to the old state of consciousness. No matter what the eyes see, no matter what the ears hear, no matter what the world screams. And I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, but what if I am doing it wrong? What if I cannot feel it? What if my faith is not strong enough? And this is where I need to destroy a myth that imprisons millions of people. You do not need giant faith. You need directed faith. Jesus said that if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will move mountains. He did not say faith the size of a mountain. He said the size of a seed. What matters is not the quantity. It is the quality. It is the inner certainty, even if small, that what you are feeling in your imagination is more real than what you are seeing with your physical eyes. And here enters the most profound teaching of Archangel Michael for you this evening. Michael is the archangel who defeats the dragon, and the dragon, in the sacred texts, is not a literal creature. The dragon is the illusion of the senses. It is the external world screaming that reality is only what you see, touch, and measure. Michael defeats the dragon when you, within yourself, declare, "I no longer accept the verdict of my senses. I choose the verdict of my imagination. I choose to feel that I already am that which I desire to be. And no external circumstance will take me out of this state." This is the law of assumption in its purest form. It is not positive thinking. It is not empty repetition of affirmations. It is a real, deep, visceral shift in your state of consciousness. It is occupying the throne of your mind and governing from the I am that you have chosen to be. And when you do this, Michael no longer needs to weep, because he finally sees you doing that for which you were created. He sees you assuming the power that was always yours. He sees you leaving the dark cave of your old identity and walking into the light of your true nature. And on this journey, something extraordinary happens. The people around you begin to change. Circumstances begin to reorganize themselves. Doors that had been locked for years open without you needing to force them. People who had forgotten you appear out of nowhere, offering exactly what you needed. Money arrives through paths you never imagined. Health improves without medical explanation. Love emerges where once there was a desert. And all of this is not magic. It is law. It is the bridge of incidents at work. It is your coherent electromagnetic field reorganizing reality in accordance with your new state of consciousness. I have already seen this happen hundreds of times. I have seen people who were drowning in debt, without a job, without hope, apply the technique of feeling with persistence and, within a matter of weeks, begin to see movements that defied all logic. I have seen marriages that seemed destroyed be restored because one of the spouses decided to change their internal dialogue and stop reacting to the external world. I have seen medical diagnoses be reversed because the patient refused to accept the illness as part of their identity and began to feel healthy in the hypnagogic state every night. These are not fanciful stories. They are rigorous applications of a spiritual law that works with the same precision as the law of gravity. But there is something I have not told you yet, and it is perhaps the most important part of all. This calling that you are feeling right now, this pressure in your chest, this certainty that this message was made for you, this has a much greater significance than you imagine. That is why I prepared the powerful digital book for you. How to Know If God Will Save You at the Final Judgment reveals the full dimension of this calling. It shows you what is happening behind the spiritual scenes of your life, why you were placed exactly at this point in history, and what is the next step you need to take so as not to waste this window that has opened. The link is in the description and pinned at the top of the comments. I have already received messages from people who said that the moment they started reading, they felt something breaking inside their chest, as if an invisible prison had been opened. Do not ignore what you are feeling right now. This feeling is your answer. And for those who stayed until here, I want to teach you now the complete technique step by step so that you can apply it tonight. Because it is of no use to understand the concept and not practice it. Knowledge without application is merely intellectual entertainment. And Archangel Michael did not bring you here for entertainment. He brought you here for transformation. Step 1. Choose your desire. A specific desire. Not something vague like I want to be happy, something concrete. I want this specific debt to be paid off. I want this relationship to be restored. I want my health to be whole. The more specific, the more powerful. Step 2. Create the scene of the desire fulfilled. Remember, not the scene of the desire happening, but the scene that implies it has already happened. A short scene of a few seconds. A scene that involves someone congratulating you, or you doing something that would only be possible if the desire were already reality. If possible, a scene that involves touch, because touch activates the feeling with much more intensity. Imagine hugging someone. Imagine holding something in your hands. Imagine feeling the texture of the new reality. Step 3. Lie down at night and relax your body completely. Do not try to sleep. Try to stay in that intermediate state, that moment when the body is heavy and the mind begins to float. It is in this state that the subconscious is most receptive. It is the portal. It is the door that is normally locked during the day, but that opens every night when you approach sleep. Step 4. Enter the scene. Do not watch the scene like a movie. Enter it. See through your own eyes. Feel with your own body. Hear with your own ears. And most importantly, feel the emotion. Feel the gratitude. Feel the relief. Feel the joy. Feel as if it were absolutely real. Because the moment you feel it, to the subconscious, it is real. Step 5. Repeat the scene on a loop until you fall asleep. It may be that on the first night you lose concentration. It may be that the internal dialogue tries to sabotage you with thoughts of doubt. This is normal. Do not fight against the thoughts. Simply return to the scene, gently, with persistence, as if it were a river that encounters a stone and simply goes around it without stopping its flow. Step 6. Upon waking in the morning, do not immediately check if something has changed in the outer world. This is the trap. The act of checking is an act of doubt, and doubt cancels the impression. Instead, wake up and enter the feeling again. Before opening your eyes, before picking up your phone, before thinking about bills, obligations, or problems, return to the feeling. Say internally, "Thank you, it is already real," and go about your day from that state. Step 7. During the day, monitor your inner dialogue. Every time the mind attempts to return to the old pattern, every time it says it will not happen, it is impossible, you are dreaming, consciously and deliberately replace it with, "I know it is already done, it is just a matter of time before the outer world conforms." This is the persistence that Neville speaks of. It is not a persistence of effort, it is a persistence of state. You are not struggling to get something. You are remaining in the state of already having achieved it. And here is the part that Archangel Michael wants to engrave in your heart with fire. Your outer reality is just an echo of the past. What you are living now, the circumstances you are facing now, are the reflection of old states, of old feelings, of old assumptions. They are not the truth about your future. They are the remnants of your past. And if you change the state now, the echo changes, inevitably, infallibly, because it is law. Think of a mirror. If you are standing before a mirror and do not like what you see, what do? Do you try to change the reflection? Do you try to push the glass? Do you try to negotiate with the image? No, you change yourself. And the reflection obeys. The outer reality works exactly like that. It is the mirror. You are the cause. And when you change within, the reflection has no choice but to change without. It may take a little while, like the echo that takes time to return in a deep valley. But it returns, it always returns. And I need to tell you something about time, because impatience is the #1 killer of manifestations. When you plant a seed, you do not dig it up every day to see if it is growing. If you do that, you kill the plant. You plant, you water, you trust, and in due time the harvest comes. Your manifestation works the same way. When you plant the feeling in the subconscious, the bridge of incidents begins to form immediately. But it may take days, weeks, sometimes months, for all the events to align in the three-dimensional world. And during this period, your only task is to maintain the state, to maintain the feeling, to maintain the assumption, no matter what happens out there. Neville told the story of a man who desired a specific position at a company. He applied the technique every night for weeks. Nothing happened. The company was not even hiring. But he persisted. And then, in a series of events that defied all probability, the director of the company resigned unexpectedly. A restructuring was announced, and the man received a call offering exactly the position he had imagined. He did no networking. He sent no resume. He manipulated no one. He simply occupied the state, and the bridge of incidents did the rest. This is power. This is the power that God placed within you, and that the world has done everything for you to forget. Because a human being who remembers who they truly are cannot be controlled, cannot be manipulated, cannot be kept in the slavery of scarcity and fear. And that is why the system wants you to remain asleep, to keep watching bad news, to keep complaining, to keep in the inner dialogue of defeat, because while you sleep, you obey. But when you wake up, you rule. And Archangel Michael is here this night, in this exact second, saying, wake up now. I cannot do this for you. I can protect, I can open paths, I can strike down invisible enemies, but the decision to occupy the new state is yours, and yours alone. No one can feel for you. No one can imagine for you. No one can assume for you. This is the most sacred, most intimate, most powerful act that a human being can perform, the conscious choice of your state of consciousness. So I ask you now, from the depths of my soul to the depths of yours, which state will you choose to inhabit starting tonight? Will you remain in the state of one who waits, of one who begs, of one who doubts, or will you step into the state of one who has already received, of one who already is, of one who is already living the reality you desired? The answer you give to this question is not merely an intellectual response, it is a decree. It is an act of creation. It is a movement in the 4th dimension that will echo in the 3rd dimension as a circumstance, as an event, as a palpable transformation. And I want you to understand the depth of what is occurring. Archangel Michael does not choose just anyone. He does not appear in the life of someone who is not ready for change. The fact that you have watched until this moment, with such attention, with this feeling that is growing within you right now, proves that you are not just anyone. It proves that there is something special happening on your spiritual journey. And this special something is not merely a video on the internet. It is a decisive moment. It is a turning point. It is the instant in which the old reality begins to crack and the new reality begins to be born. But like every birth, there will be pain. There will be uncertainty. There will be that moment of total darkness between the end of the old and the beginning of the new. Mystics call this the dark night of the soul. And it is exactly at this moment that you need the most persistence, because it is at this moment that the subconscious is making the deepest transition. It is at this moment that the old programming is being overwritten. And all the resistance you feel, all the discomfort, all the urge to turn back is simply the old program fighting to survive. Do not feed the old program. Do not give it attention. Do not give it energy. When it arises in the form of negative thought, do not fight it. Simply observe and return to the feeling of the fulfilled desire. Like a patient parent who watches a child throwing a tantrum and simply waits, without reacting, without becoming agitated, knowing that it will pass. Because it will pass, I guarantee you. In my experience, the most difficult period lasts between 3 and 7 days. These are the days when the old and the new coexist and the tension is at its peak. But if you maintain the state, if you continue feeling it, if you do not yield to the destructive internal dialogue, at the end of this period, something changes. Something tangible. Something you will feel in your body, in your environment, in your relationships. A lightness, a synchronicity, a clear sign that the bridge of incidents is active. And when this first sign arrives, do not celebrate with the rational mind analyzing everything. Celebrate with your heart. Feel gratitude, feel joy, and continue. Because this sign is only the first step of the bridge. The complete manifestation will come when all the steps are in place, and your task is merely to maintain the state until the outer world conforms entirely. Tonight, when you close your eyes, I want you to remember everything you have heard here. Remember Archangel Michael. Remember that he has chosen you. Remember that he is by your side at this very moment, with his flaming sword raised, ready to strike down any obstacle that stands between you and your new reality. But remember also that the most powerful weapon is not his sword. It is your feeling. It is your capacity to imagine and feel as real that which your eyes do not yet see. It is your I am declaring with authority who you are, independent of any external evidence. You are not what happened to you. You are not your debts. You are not your illness. You are not your divorce. You are not your failure. You are the I am. You are pure consciousness with the power to assume any state, and the state you assume tonight will determine what you live tomorrow. If you have reached this point, I have an absolute certainty about you. You are not an ordinary person. You carry within yourself a capacity for transformation that most people do not even know exists, and this message was the detonator. From now on, nothing will be the same, but only if you act, only if you apply it, only if you persist. That is why I have prepared a powerful digital book for you. How to Know. If God will save you on Judgment Day is the next step in this journey that started here. It deepens everything you have heard, reveals layers that I cannot address in a single video, and gives you practical tools for immediate transformation. The link is in the description of this video and pinned at the top of the comments. Each day you delay is one more day in the old reality, and Archangel Michael did not bring you here for you to delay. He brought you here for you to act. Now, if this message has transformed something within you, leave your like on this video. This like is not just a click. It is a decree of acceptance. It is you saying to the universe, I accept this new reality. I accept this transformation. I accept the blessing that Archangel Michael has brought me. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell, because every notification you receive is one more opportunity to maintain your elevated state. And comment below the word reborn, because today, at this moment, you have died to the old and were born to the new. And Michael smiles, because finally, after waiting for so long, after so many tears shed by you, he sees you opening your eyes. He sees you remembering who you are. And now, together, you walk into the light.